What's good, YouTube? It's your boy RJ, and today we got to talk about the Hodge Twins. Yeah, the Hodge Twins is being brought to the front of the congregation with it. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the video.
My career here on Black YouTube. And of course, at that particular time, there were a few communities. You know, you had your guys in celebrity, you had your guys, you know, doing the pro-black stuff like Sonetter, and then you had the burgeoning Black manosphere, which is what I was a part of. Now, right next to the Black manosphere were the emergence of what I consider now the Black conservative community. Guys like Anthony Brian Logan would come in 2016, I believe, Brandon Tatum around that same time, and then Candace Owens. And this was important because Donald Trump was running for president and he would win in 2016 with the Make America Great Again campaign. So there was a white space opportunity for Black conservatives. And those Black conservatives pretty much talked about the dysfunction of the Black community. Now at this time, there wasn't a whole bunch of guys talking about geopolitics, Israel. I honestly think that these Black conservatives were not even, interested in geopolitics because the main thing that they needed to do was to talk either to the Black community about voting red or talking about the Black community. And that's what those guys did, especially guys like Brandon Tatum. Now, at the same time, the Hodge Twins were not talking about politics at all. They were doing comedy and bodybuilding. But fast forward. By the time 2020 came, Donald Trump would lose the re-election and then Biden would be coming into office in 2021. The Black conservative community wasn't as powerful as it once was under Trump, but it was still lucrative. And just criticizing Black people all day wasn't going to be enough. There actually had to be something else that needed to be done. And we saw what that change was. The culture of the conservatives changed. It got more radical. This is why you see a lot of guys like Fresh and Fit come into this space and then start collaborating with the likes of Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, and some of the guys on the geopolitical right. And then obviously the alt-right started coming in. And so the alt-right pushed the culture, an extreme culture that even the Black conservatives had to make a decision. And what's the
And that's the facts right there. That's the interesting part about it, is that when Trump ran for office again and he started his next campaign or whatever the case may be while Biden was in office, he really turned up the conservative side. Like, he gave them so much motivation, and a lot of people was making a lot of money on the conservative side pushing Trump. You got to, and they were making money from both ends. So then you had them making money from the conservative side, people supporting them. And then you also had them making money from the left side, because whenever they would talk about these issues, the left would come over and argue and debate with them. So they're getting clicks and traffic on the conservative side, whereas you don't really see as much the conservative side coming over to the left and arguing with them at the same rate. It would have to be something that would go viral in order for that to happen. So it was a lot of people that had nothing to do with politics incentivized to run up a bag, to grift, to play the part, put on the red hat. It was a lot of people incentivized to do that, unfortunately.
Hodge Twins changed their particular content strategy over to the right. They had to make a decision too. Number one, keep talking about Blacks. That was the cash cow.
That is.
But number two, who would you be supporting? Israel or Palestine? Now, this doesn't seem like a big issue at the time, but yes, it is now. And guys like Brandon Tatum chose Israel.
Jesus was a Jew. Jesus is God, so that makes God a Jew.
Brandon Tatum chose Israel, and honestly, I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. From a YouTuber standpoint, from what I'm seeing, from what a lot of conservatives in the space are saying, it may be a decision he may regret. Now, he may be getting paid from it, and there are some people, sympathetic to him. But Brandon Tatum is not what he used to be. He doesn't.
And real quick, I just want to interject real fast. Based on Brandon Tatum's logic to say, oh, because Jesus was a Jew, I support Jews and everything that they do. Based on that type of logic, right, we've seen a lot of pictures of Jesus in today's age, right? And based on the depictions that we get of Jesus, Jesus is depicted as a white man. So does that mean that anything that the white man does, you support? Does that really make sense? That it doesn't. So anything that a Jew does, you support whether right or wrong just because they're a Jew and Jesus was a Jew. Come on, that logic makes no sense. That means that you're not even thinking about it. You just going for it just because it sounds good. And that's the issue with these guys. They don't really move off of logic. They move off of this surface level, simple, ignorant mindset, and they push a narrative in order to get paid. They don't ever go against the grain. Go watch any of these guys' debates and see how many times they concede when they are called out on their foolishness and ignorance. They will avoid it and play mental gymnastics as much as they can. That's just how they do. They are not, and they will do it with no shame. As long as the dollars keep rolling in, they gonna ride that. They gonna ride their ignorance till the wheels fall off. That's facts.
Get the views he used to. And because he's a black conservative, he's sensitive to changes, meaning that he can't take those shocks like somebody else. I've seen Brandon Tatum literally fall off the face. Not completely, right? He still gets views, he gets money. But he doesn't have any pull amongst black conservatives like he once did. And that's because he's loyal to Israel. And pretty soon, the way he's going, he'll be out of there. Fast forward. But other guys like Candace Owens and the Hodge Twins, both groups of black conservatives, decided to go with a different strategy. They decided to roll with the conservative whites. And it's important to know that the Hodge Twins will do whatever it takes to roll with the conservative whites.
That's facts.
He's pandering to his base. Yeah, I guarantee it.
I thought it was more.
There is. I have
you
another
stopped it.
clip.
My bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to see it. You got to see it.
Yeah, I pander to my base.
He just admitted it.
I pander to white people. Damn, I lost track what I was going to say. Pander to black people. Yeah, I pander to white people, right-leaning white people. I say, I don't want to shake the boat. Sometimes I shake the boat, but yeah, that's just.
Bills got to get paid.
Bills got to get paid. I guess he got some bills too.
Keeping it real, hey.
He's wearing this.
That's
He was trying to be funny.
So right there, the Hodge
and that's the one thing I could say about the Hodge Twins, that at least they not afraid to admit it. They gonna pander as much as they need to get these bills paid. Let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it thorough. They are going to pander as much as they can. Because guess what? If they start telling the truth and being fair and honest with their opinions, they're going to get chased up out of there. And they're going to crash and burn. And that's just the truth. They are going to get hit upside the head. They're going to lose their audience because their audience doesn't really relate to them. They just like going to the Hodge Twins because the Hodge Twins confirms their biases already. And because they're black, they can use the Hodge Twins as a tool and tactic to push certain narratives. And as long as they pay the Hodge Twins to push these narratives, they know the Hodge Twins are going to come through every single time. And that's a problem because that's not real journalism. That's not real reporting. That is honestly doing more to hurt your audience because all it does is divide people more than anything else. You're selling your audience out. You're not really having constructive conversation.
Twins are saying, I will grift towards my audience and pander. That is important. Okay. Now, let me just say this in a space like what I have here with the Black YouTube commentary, Tariq Nasheed, guys that differ from probably my opinion in some of the things like Anton Daniels, Boyce Watkins, Dr. Umar. I'm just naming those guys because all of us are different in our strategy. But Anton Daniels can largely afford to say something different than, let's say, somebody like Brandon Tatum. The reason is Anton Daniels has a more built-in black audience, right?
For sure.
So when you have a more black audience, you don't have shocks because even if you disagree with him, you still go and watch his stuff. And then his audience is so deep and versatile, he can say what he wants to say. He's not gonna lose any subscribers. Okay,
for sure.
However, guys like the Hodge Twins, guys like Tatum, guys like Candace Owens, they have very little room for error. All right, and so when you have very little room for error, you got to stand with your audience.
You do.
And so if your audience starts to drift pro-Israel, you go pro-Israel.
That's
but
facts.
if your audience goes pro-Palestine, then you go pro-Palestine. And here's an example.
That is crazy. They welcomed the Jewish people in after World War II. They accepted them as refugees, and those refugees took over that country.
Yep.
That is crazy.
That's the Hodge Twins talking about the history or their history of Israel. But also this.
Just like it was evil what those Hamas did when they flew into Israel,
Right.
right? And it's evil what Israel's doing to innocent people in Gaza Strip. It's just you need to be able to call evil regardless of its correlation with your political views and how it relates to your political views. You see what I'm saying?
Sometimes you just got to drop your political views and you just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see the forest for the tree.
So what are we seeing here? We're seeing that black conservatives used to be used to just denigrate the black community or criticize the black community or try to foster a relationship with the right. And
They always
the issue
have been.
with most black conservatives, such as Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens, they just didn't have a lot of pull to enter black America, largely because either they never grew up there or they just fell out of touch, right? Okay, so now if you have a large audience and you're a black content creator, you have to serve another purpose. You have to serve a geopolitical purpose. And so because talking about blacks gets old, you need to use your audience to suffice what an agenda is. If the agenda is pro-Israel, you're forced into that conversation as a black conservative. Whereas 10 years ago, that was above your pay grade. Candace Owens literally has been forced into it, largely because she worked for Daily Wire and then changed her mind and got fired. Okay, the Hodge Twins, largely these guys, in my honest opinion, are not even gifted or educated enough to talk about anything geopolitically.
That's facts. That's 100% fact.
I mean, if you listen to these guys talk, they should be talking about wrestling. But anyways, the Hodge Twins are talking about the Jews a lot. And they also do podcasts with people who dislike their existence. They've worked with Jake Shields. They've worked with white supremacist David Duke. So the Hodge Twins will do anything to keep the bag up. They will interview people who dislike their existence.
You know what's crazy about that? They interview these white supremacists, right? And you got to question, why are they really interviewing these white supremacists? Are they trying to push their narrative? Are they trying to push their agenda? And you would really have to go watch the Hodge Twins interview these people to make your own, sure assessment of the situation. The only issue that I can call out without really doing a deep dive on them is why, if you are trying to bridge, if they're trying to bridge a gap, let's say they're interviewing these people to humanize them, to bridge a gap, even though they're racist, even though they came up racist, they're trying to bridge the gap and humanize them. Why wouldn't you do the same thing for the other side? I don't see you interviewing no rappers. I don't see you interviewing no black leaders. I don't see you trying to interview Farrakhan. I don't see you trying to interview none of these people. But you really want to pedestalize and bring forward white supremacists, though. Like, that is your goal, is to seek these people out and platform these people. And that's when you really got to start questioning, who are they playing for real? And then you also have to question, when they're telling you stuff, are they telling it to you to really benefit you, or are they telling it to you to benefit them? You got to start questioning this type of stuff, even if you like these people. Because I watch Anton Daniels. I like a lot of his financial, advice. He gives great financial advice. But when it comes to certain points that he brings up, pay attention to why he's talking about it. Because it's not always where it doesn't always come from where you think it's coming from.
Yes, Nick Fuentes. They will bring on white supremacists onto their podcast and literally talk about the Jews or the Jewish community. That's how much grifting it is. However, for them, staying loyal to whites is the most important thing. This is where I honestly feel that Brandon Tatum differs here, okay? And this is more of a risk for him. Brandon Tatum defending Israel, and this is not me giving my own personal opinion about Israel-Palestine. I don't really get into that, but it's going against the grain because so many conservatives do not not feel what Brandon Tatum feels towards Israel. All of them that I see that are popular on X, extreme groups, are pro-Palestine. Brandon Tatum, in my opinion, will lose a lot of his core following that are white people that are believing in that there's some injustice going on. He's going to end up losing those people in the next 2 to 3 years and will probably almost have no views.
See, that's the thing, right? He's saying that, but I don't think Brandon is going to take it that far. He not. He going to sprinkle in his truth every now and again. And then once he gets enough backlash, he's going to fall back. Like, that's what he's going to do. He's going to tell you how he feel. And then once they apply that pressure and them numbers and that bottom line gets hit, when that YouTube check hit every month on the 21st and it's not looking the same, he's going to fall back. Every single time. Every single time he's going to fall back. So I'm gonna leave it off here. This is a video by O'Shea Duke Jackson. A video link is going to be down in the description box below. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that these people are going to continue to pander moving forward in order to protect their bottom line? Or do you think that they genuinely feel the way that they feel about these topics that they speak on and they're not really grifting, they're just talking about their own opinions? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and go ahead and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this content. Subscribe if you enjoy this type of content, and I'm going to catch you on the next one. Deuces, you too.